views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to Bellas Fashionistas Home Edition. I am your host, Clarissa Bello. It is a pleasure to have you join us on this beautiful afternoon. We trust that you and your loved ones are well and staying safe. In today's Bellas Fireside Chat conversation, we welcome the president of DNA Construction Advisors, a Latina-owned construction advisory company offering consulting, sales management, training, marketing, and branding services to small, minority, and women-owned firms. Their mission is to connect New York City real estate developers and managers with MWBE contractors. Please join me in welcoming Latina trailblazer and Cubana, Andrea Mesis Bruno. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. What an opener. Wow, that was great. I need to bring you with me everywhere to enter me into a room properly.
I'll be your sales pitch and your PR. That's Rebel Incorporated. How are you today, dear?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of this and to have the opportunity to share, how I'm helping people.
It is so good to see Latinas in the construction industry that are really paving the way for many generation of Latina leaders.
Thank you. I mean, I'm just extremely blessed, and helping people just makes it feel even better along the way. Very proud.
Andrea, for those that do not know you, tell us more about yourself and what it is that you do.
I do a little bit of everything, and most of it's based on relationships and just the need that arises. I try to help solve everyone's problem in every circumstance. And my business has kind of evolved and grown from within that. So I own a construction sales and marketing consulting company, and I focus specifically on minority, small, local, and women-owned businesses. And the goal with that is to help someone, because I wish someone would have been there to help me along the way. And I've been grateful for the people that have helped me along the way. So I just want to pay it forward. There's never more exciting and appreciative and engaged clients than those that need it the most. So that's kind of where I focused all my energy. I made enough money for the big guys in the 20-something years of my career. It was time for me to start making money for the people that was really a game changer for them. So it gives me great pride that I picked this little funnel of really the best type of customers and the best need and benefit that I can offer them.
Why construction?
I my entire career evolved from this, taking big chances, and opportunities presented themselves. And I said, sure, I'll figure it out. Right. I kind of always accepted the challenge whenever it was presented to me. And it took me in very different paths than where I thought I was going to start. I went to the police academy. I wanted to be a private investigator like my dad. And then once I started working for my dad, I realized how gross sitting in a car all day with your partner was on a stakeout. And it just wasn't what I thought it was. So I got into security. I had a great career in security. And then it kind of moved me into security technology, like installing turnstiles and cameras in commercial real estate buildings in New York City. And once I got that little bite of the construction field from being in the security trade, I went all in. I mean, I loved every aspect of the building process, the clients, the atmosphere, the deadlines, the multitasking, and the learning while you go, and the really excitement of having to deliver something necessary that works, right? It felt great, and I loved being a part of it. I was actually really great at it. So it brought me into construction, and I worked as a VP on several companies in doing new building construction in New York City, doing management of existing the mechanicals of existing companies and properties. And I kind of just went out on my own at one point because I knew everybody, and everybody had, so much support that they were offering me, that I felt that staying within one company and only providing one service was not really utilizing my full resources. And now I'm able to help everybody, whether they're a plumber, an electrician, a general contractor. So I basically am able to spread myself out as the salespeople for all of these different companies. And it happened organically, and it felt right. And I went all in, and it was fantastic. And I'm very, very, very blessed.
There's not that many Latinas in construction. And when I see, and I've worked with women in construction, and it's incredible to see, just like you said, like these projects, you go in and you build something from the ground up. And when you see the final product, it's like, whoa.
I feel like if you build an IKEA furniture, you build the dresser, and at the end you have all the pieces put together, nothing left over, the drawers open, great. I feel that way about buildings in New York City. I think back to 9/11 or Hurricane Sandy, and I was a big part of servicing the emergency response for those buildings. I think back to projects that have gone on that I've been a part of from the beginning, when it was just a drawing and a concept, to it actually being an operational building that has changed the skyline of New York City. It gives me a lot of pride that those addresses are, to me, mean something. They're not just storefronts. They're part of the fabric of the city, and I've played a role in making them run and operate.
What is DNA Construction Advisors?
DNA is the construction company that I developed for my son. D stands for DJ, and A stands for Andrea. My son has always wanted to be in construction, and always wanted to own his own company, so I'm building one for him. And he's so proud, and he loves being part of this process. He actually made our first logo, and he's just so proud to see it all unfold and really build. But the company itself services, minority, women-owned businesses, construction companies, and it gives them both the sales and the marketing that they need in order to succeed. And I give them access to the customers that I've built relationships with over 26 years. So it's like like chutes and ladders. It's like they get to skip steps, and for them, it's a real game changer. And to bringing them into a market, it would take them years and tons of money to try to saturate. So I'm very blessed to be able to help as many people as I have get to the same spot that I've worked so hard to get to.
What are the services it provides?
What I do during a post-COVID environment, as everybody says, is the buzzwords. I provide a lot of the tools and resources that customers need in order to establish themselves, to become brand visible to the company, as I give them the strategy on how they could make themselves more marketable and more useful as a resource to the property managers and developers that are within my network. So that could mean anything from, hosting a conference where that person can speak, where they're going to speak alongside someone that they're, interested in doing business with. There's organizations like Professional Women in Construction that a lot of these MWBs could be joining. And the network within that group is just truly amazing, of genuine people trying to help each other. So I just became a sponsor of that organization recently. And I give a lot of companies the steps that they can take to, as inexpensively and as quickly, get to where their goals should be in order to find the right business for who they are as a company, what their culture, blueprint looks like.
Especially in the construction industry. I mean, to even be part of a bid, if you are a minority-owned business and certified, it takes time and years, just like you said, to be able to meet with the prime contractor.
I have to say, it's such a small industry, so there's a lot of people trying to get into it. And they're on the peripherals, maybe they become big within some niche, but to the group that we are blessed to be a part of is the movers and shakers and the big deal people, but they're the nicest people in the world. And if I bring on a customer and I help introduce them to those really impactful powerhouse people, it changes the landscape of their entire company's future.
How has DNA Construction Advisors been able to pivot and maintain providing services to its clients during the pandemic?
It made my pitch easier because everyone understood that business as usual was not something that they could rest on any longer. So people had been, I think, hesitant to use a non-traditional or a niche marketing company, and they've embraced it more than ever because I think most of the traditional marketing firms, branding firms, ad agencies, they've really lost touch with what's currently going on in New York City construction, what's currently going on following quarantine, that they their prices haven't adapted. And most of the tools that analytics that I give are free. I have a bleeding heart for making sure everybody gets what they need, whether they can afford it or not. So I give away, unfortunately, far too much, but I just can't help myself because I know that they're going to go out of business if they don't. So I've modified my business to accommodate a 2020 reality. And I think many companies haven't been nimble enough in order to do so. I'm blessed that, I could change the rules. They're mine now. That makes it easier. But I know a lot of companies haven't. And the companies that are hiring me need services, or they're not going to survive. And they can't get them if they're not cost efficient.
Especially now during COVID, that a lot of businesses have been closed. And it has been very challenging for those small minority to be able to piggyback and continue to service during this whole stopped in the economy, I must say.
I think in some ways, though, they have a benefit, right? So the benefit is that they're eager and they don't have the structure that holds them back sometimes. They can abandon their retail construction business and turn into building hospitals and adapting classrooms for the schools, and they're going to get preference on those contracts because they are MWBE. So they do have a better leg up in that jumping over into that market, and they can throw it away and start all over again if they're not overly structured and overly invested and leveraged into a certain industry.
We will take a quick break, and when we return, Ms. Mesis Bruno will discuss how her company, DNA Construction Advisors, is connecting MWBE firms with New York City real estate developers and managers. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Ms. Mesis Bruno, tell us how DNA Construction Advisors is assisting MWBE firms connect with real estate developers and managers throughout the pandemic.
One of the benefits of diving in so eagerly when I bring on a new customer is that I actually go over with them their existing pipeline. I go over what their wish list is, who their favorite idea of a client would be, and I'm able to really jump right in and skip steps in that process to get them to those face-to-face interactions that are actually happening post COVID and a lot during virtually during the quarantine. And I'm able to drive a lot of those opportunities to close very quickly with simple text message or phone call to the customers that I'm blessed to say that I know so well. But so that's been a big resource to customers, especially MWBs right now, is to getting the intel and the access on stalled opportunities. in addition to bringing to them to the table with my customers that are always asking me, how do I get more MWBEs bidding? So they pushed me as well in this direction.
What is the process when preparing an MWBE firm prior to connecting to a prospective real estate developer or manager?
Absolutely, you couldn't have said it better. There is a strategy and a point where they have to get ready to play at that level, right? And it is a big shift for a lot of customers. So that development strategy in the very beginning, I run tons of analytics. I compare them to to other like kind competitors within their unique trade, and then I let them know where they need to be level with the industry average. That could mean anything from the diagnostic reports I run on their ad spend, on the efficiency of their ad spend, their visibility on all of the platforms, being Google My Business, Yelp, uh, Instagram, which is a huge marketing moment right now for everyone. Right? No one's reading their drip campaign emails. No one's going on Twitter or Facebook because they're all probably really angry and too many complaining pictures of people that are sick with sick being home with their kids. Um, but they are checking Instagram, and Instagram is having a huge marketing moment. And that is a really good platform for them to get exposure with these big developers. And you could do so easily in order to have the name recognition when you send in your bid and start establishing who your brand is as a company so that the architects, the designers, the contractors, the developers can start to understand a little bit about what matters to you. And employee spotlight is a big part of that. I love making that part of my initiatives. Don't promote yourself and your products. Promote the people that work for you. Talk about how great they are and how much you love having them on your team. That's better than telling people how great your services are.
What are the tools an MWBE should have to stand out and also to win a bid with a prime contractor?
Yeah, I would say definitely having your brand, your media kit, having your brand on multiple platforms. Don't be the one that's sending the random LinkedIn messages to everybody all day long, because unless you're looking for a job or you're in sales, you don't check your LinkedIn, and it doesn't. You don't want those messages. I tend to believe that the best thing is to use ads within Instagram or within LinkedIn, within Facebook. Google My Business, make sure that you're findable and that you're at the top of the list. I think that's the best thing that you can do to give yourself a fighting chance, because when you do have that meeting with that customer and they go, I want to check them out, see if they're really legit, let them Google you, because that's what they're going to do. And then find out you don't have a Google My Business, that you don't have a website, that you don't have findability in any way, shape, or form. Whatever you said is irrelevant now, because you're a ghost. You don't exist, right? And no one trusts anybody that doesn't have credible backup. And that right now is Google. It's just 2020, and it's Google and Instagram. It's the world we live.
I try encouraging a few construction firms to have more social media presence, especially on Instagram. But they didn't see before COVID, and they didn't see the opportunity of social media for their industry.
They were not at all interested at all. Like that, you're putting it so mildly. I heard 1.5 million times, what are you doing on Instagram? How come you post so much? Like, why do you post all this women empowerment and women in the trades? And, what do you think, you're an influencer? And it's now during COVID. Yes, I am an influencer. I'm an influencer that's keeping people's lights on, keeping their employees off of unemployment, and keeping their business growing. So maybe I kind of knew what I was doing. And they are embracing it now post COVID, because there was the atmosphere of everybody wanted to be everybody's best kept secret. I never even had a website until quarantine, because everybody knew who I was. And if they didn't know me, my LinkedIn was strong, my Facebook, and all my business offering was clear, but I loved being the best kept secret. New York is quintessential for saying, I know a guy. It's all right. I know a guy. It's all right. I got a guy, right? I'll get my guy to go do it. But you didn't really want too many details because you could almost sell yourself out of the deal if you had the wrong information or if it was done poorly. Um, Without all the golf outings canceling, the galas, the networking events that really pushed our business, I can tell you, it is time consuming to be present and to be at the proper events so that you can make those meaningful conversations with the people in your pipeline for the next quarter. Uh, those all went away, so you had to find a new way to really get through. And every company that you've ever done business with that has ever taken your email address was sending you their quarantine and their riot and statements, right? Messaging was big. What the reopening strategy is. So no one was really paying attention to sales emails or cold calling emails or LinkedIn's because it was just flooding the market. But everybody wakes up in the morning and scrolls their Instagram. So it's probably the right place to be putting your ads. I'm just saying. It's just an idea. I'm just throwing it out there.
Why do you think it's difficult for an MWBE firm to obtain an opportunity with a prime contractor?
It's a very, very generationally ingrained industry. I am one of the very few people that does not have any parent that came from this business, right? So most of the property managers are third and fourth generation from engineers and contractors and managers of buildings, and they're bred into it, right? They start with their internship. They start with a junior seat on a charity that's within the industry, and you see such a familiar family feeling within a building and within a company, like a property management company or a construction company or union, and you buy in because it just feels like home. It's like, oh, that's Aunt Nancy or that's Uncle George over there, because you grew up alongside them, right? So to break into that like I did, I got my job on Monster 15 something years ago in the security construction market. It was random. I didn't know it was going to lead me down this path, but to intentionally lead yourself down that path is a struggle when everyone already has a cousin, auntie, family member, and someone that they've known their whole life that's already in that business in your trade. So you do really need someone that's going to help give you access, so that you can even have that conversation start. And usually that comes from somebody making an introduction. That's how New York City construction and property management and real estate works.
I know that you work with MWBEs. At any point, if they don't have a certification, do you help them also obtain a certification with the city in the state of New York?
I'm still getting my MWBE because I'm so busy helping my customers that I haven't had much time to get through that process myself. It is a lot. It's a lot of work. And I'm lucky, I have my friend Mildred, who, I was actually just meeting with last week. She's a part of Professional Women in Construction, and she actually owns a self-performing project management firm. She's actually going to help me go through that process of MWBE, because she's just a powerhouse of MWBE, and she does a lot of government work. So I think that more than anything, the relationships that you gain should be with your peers as much as it should be with your clients. And that has been what has gotten me access, what has grown my access and my network, and what has helped me establish those really struggling, difficult things that need to be done, and not fun processes that need to get done in order to have those classifications and those credentials.
Do you see yourself also doing that for those that do not have their certifications in the future?
I think that there's a lot of really amazing government programs that are available, especially within the city of New York. And I think if you know the right resources and you know how to use a lot of the SBA programs that are available, I definitely do. I'm blessed to be a proud business plan writer for SBA and use every resource that they have. And New York City has tons of resources. The professional organizations within construction, like Professional Women in Construction, they do walk you through that process. That's what a professional network is for. It's for helping you learn your trade and grow from your competitors, right? That's the thing. If you embrace your competitor, now they're your peer and they're going to help you grow because they've been in your exact shoes. And I truly live that way with everything that I do, and I love seeing real genuine networks like that and people utilizing them. So no, I don't think I need to offer it because I think that there's a lot of resources that are available that can probably do it much better than I could do myself. I know what I like to do is I like to help people get in the door, right? Let them make their case when they're there. Let me help them along the process to say, listen, I trust this person. I've watched them and I've seen how much they've invested in making sure they do a great job on these opportunities. Give them a shot for me, please.
For more information, where can you be contacted?
My website is www.daconstructionadvisors.com, or I can be reached on my email personally at Andrea Mesis at daconstructionadvisors.com.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It is a pleasure to have you at Bellas Fashionistas TV.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to follow us on social media at Bellas Fashionistas TV and our media partner at BronxNet TV. To watch more of our programming, please visit our websites at bellasfashionistas.com and our media partner at bronxnet.org. Please be safe. Have a great day.